All right, guys. So in the continuation of the drama surrounding the University of Pennsylvania's star athlete slash swimmer, transgender woman, Lia Thomas, the drama is heating up, okay? As there is a new story about Lia Thomas almost every single day. Almost every single day. There's something new coming out about this person. They are quickly becoming one of the most, if not the most, controversial figures in sports, right? And the reason is because Lia has been dominating the competition, okay? This person has been shattering records and basically proven what all conservatives and people with common sense have been saying since this has been an issue, that biological men competing against biological women in sports is simply not fair. However, despite the obvious, you have woke news outlets like NBC News that will come out here and tell you the exact opposite, right? They'll say things like, even after a man transitions into a woman, they don't maintain any biological advantages, as if that the biological advantages magically go away, right? As if that person doesn't maintain more muscle mass, more bone density, longer limbs, bigger hand size, flatter chest, longer limbs, all advantages that Lia Thomas has, right? That Lia Thomas maintains while swimming and competing against biological women who just genetically don't have those same attributes, okay? So with that being said, we're getting the idea in regards to how Lia Thomas is actually thinking of themselves and what they're doing to the sport, as there are a bunch of women who are coming out anonymously, right, including teammates of Lia Thomas, that are telling us what Lia Thomas thinks. And it is becoming quite clear that Lia Thomas is actually enjoying the attention. They're enjoying the controversy. In fact, Lia Thomas is thinking of themselves as a historical figure in sports, as allegedly behind the scenes, Lia Thomas has went as far as to compare themselves to Jackie Robinson, basically saying that they're breaking down the transgender barrier in swimming, kind of the same way that Jackie Robinson broke down the color barrier in baseball, right? That's a big comparison to make. And the fact that Lia is allegedly saying that about themselves kind of tells you what they think about this whole situation, okay? So let's read more here. University of Pennsylvania transgender swimmer Lia Thomas is reportedly thinking extremely highly of herself following her recent successes in the pool for the Quakers. One of Thomas's teammates told the Washington Examiner on Thursday that Thomas is comparing herself to groundbreaking baseball legend Jackie Robinson. She compares herself to Jackie Robinson. She said she is like the Jackie Robinson of trans sports, an anonymous teammate claimed to the newspaper. Imagine your ego, right? For you to believe that you are the Jackie Robinson of trans sports. It's insane. It's absolutely insane, right? I mean, it tells you why they're doing this, okay? They know that, hey, if I do this, if I, decide I want to compete against women, all the woke people are going to love me. And the people that, are on the left but don't necessarily agree with the woke, they're not going to say anything about it. And I'm going to be famous. I'm going to break records. I'm going to be in the Hall of Fame, right? I'm going to go down in history, okay? Let's read more here. She laughs about it and mocks the situation instead of caring or showing that she cares about what she's doing or what she's doing to her teammates. She's not sympathetic or empathetic at all. Lia never addressed our team. She never asked if it was okay. She never asked how we felt. She never tried to explain how she feels. She never has said anything to us as a group. She never addressed anything because Lia doesn't feel the need to. It should be understood and accepted by you that this is what Lia is doing, and if you don't accept it, then you are a transphobic bigot, right? That is what happens when anytime you criticize a certain group of people, you're labeled some type of ism or phobic, right? That's what happens, okay? They know they're not going to get any real criticism, and if they do get any real criticism, then the woke mob will come to defend them. It's really that simple. The teammates allege Thomas has been overly arrogant when it comes to her performances. Thomas said last month on the Swim Swam podcast she tries not to engage with any of the negativity she's received. Quote, I don't engage with it. It's not healthy for me to read it and engage with it at all. And so I don't. And that's all I say on that. Thomas won the 200-yard and 500-yard freestyle and finished in 5th place in the 100-yard freestyle during the school's tri-meet with Yale and Dartmouth. Thomas finished about 2 seconds ahead of her opponents with a time of 1 minute 48 seconds in the 200 freestyle. She missed out on setting an NCAA record held by Olympian Missy Franklin, who finished the event in 1 minute and 39 seconds in 2015. Thomas wasn't as dominant as she was at the Zippy Invitational at Akron last month. Now, that's pretty suspicious, right? It's really suspicious for this person to all of a sudden not be as dominant as they was. And there might be a reason for that. Let's read more here. She faced a real challenge in the 100 freestyle from Yale's Iszac Henig, who is transitioning from female to male. Henig had a time of 49.57 seconds, with Thomas finishing behind him with a time of 52.84 seconds. Henig is from California and has been competing for Yale since 2018, stunned the limited spectators at the race. Okay, so this is interesting because Lia is a biological male transitioned to a woman, okay, and Henig is a woman who is transitioning to a male, okay? Now, I found this to be fascinating because this person, Henig, claims that they're not taking any testosterone, right? But they have had their breasts removed, which is an advantage, and they still choose to compete with women even though they're saying they're trying to be a man. And in my opinion, this goes directly against the idea that is pushed from the left that trans men are actually men, right? If trans men actually believe that they're men, then why isn't Henig, who dominated biological women, that's transitioned into a man, why don't they compete against men, right? Why don't they compete against men? That's an interesting question. And the fact that they're not competing against men, why hasn't the left spoke out about that and say, no. If you are transitioning to a man and trans men are actually men, you need to compete against men. But the answer to that question is simple. They really don't care about this issue, right? They really don't. They really don't give a damn. But again, I found it interesting how somebody that was transitioning from a female to a man and not taking testosterone, for whatever reason, beat Lia Thomas, who is a biological man transitioned to a woman. I found that interesting. However, allegedly, there's an explanation for it that actually makes sense. Okay, because even though Henig here is transitioning into a man, they're still a woman. They probably have more masculine features as a woman to even want to make that transition in the first place. So Henig probably would be dominant among women, regardless of whether or not they're transitioning, right? They'll probably be dominant, okay? But I don't think they'll be dominant enough to beat a decent male swimmer, okay? Which is, again, interesting why they actually beat Lia Thomas, okay? But again, we have an explanation for that. As a Penn swimmer is alleging that Lia Thomas colluded with a fellow transgender swimmer before the race. So what they're saying is that these two people who are trans got together and colluded before the race, okay, for a reason. So let's read here. In an exclusive interview with OutKick, a biological female member of the Penn's women's swimming said she believes her teammate, transgender swimmer Lia Thomas, colluded with Yale transgender swimmer Iszac Henig, who's transitioning from female to male during a 100 freestyle race on January 8th. The swimmer, granted anonymity due to what is viewed as threats from the university, activists, and the current political climate, believes Thomas, who is reportedly being comparing herself to Jackie Robinson, and Henig cooked up a plan before a Penn home tri-meet with Yale and Dartmouth. Now, here's the thing. Before I get into this, this whole anonymity thing is not helping, okay? Because what happens is that when these women who are speaking out against this, their teammates who's speaking out against this, when they don't put a name and a face behind what they're saying, it makes it less impactful, right? People really don't care. They shrug it off. However, if one of Leia's teammates who actually really believes that this is unfair put a name and a face behind what they were saying and actually came out, that would actually, in my opinion, be impactful. But as long as these women continue to stay anonymous, nothing's going to change. And this is what I've been saying the whole time about this whole, transgender thing in sports. Biological women have to speak out and say, no, this is not fair. And they have to put their names and their faces behind it in order for things to change, right? So I'm tired of the anonymous stuff. I appreciate what they're saying. I appreciate they're speaking out, but you have to put a name and a face behind it, okay? Who cares about what the woke mob says? You're going to have just as many people standing up for you, if not more, than the woke mob, okay? Because I'm telling you, a majority of Americans are on your side, right? They're on your side. They may be afraid to say something because they're going to get backlash from the mob, but they're on your side. However, you can't fear the mob forever. If you continue to fear the mob forever and that keeps people from speaking out, that means the problem will never be solved. Quote, looking at Lia Thomas, I don't think she was trying. The Penn swimmer alleges, I know they're friends and I know they were talking before the meet. I think she let her win to prove that point. Oh, see, a female to male beat me. Now, that makes sense, right? That makes a whole lot of sense because what happens then is that, well, you can say, well, I don't have an advantage, right? If you start losing stuff, okay, throwing races, you can say, listen, this competition is fair. Somebody that's transitioned into a male, they just beat me, right? A female transition to a male just beat me. And I believe the same thing is true regarding that Olympic weightlifter, Laurel Hubbard, who's a transgender, who's a male transition to a woman, competing against biological women in weightlifting, who ended up not even being able to complete a lift in the Olympic competition. Even though the lifts that they were attempting are lifts that they had been successfully completing for years. And I found that to be fascinating, how they cannot complete one lift at the Olympics after getting a whole bunch of backlash for qualifying for the Olympics in the first place. And I think that was done on purpose so they can make the statement of, oh, no, this is fair. So in the future, there's less complaints. You can say, listen, no, they weren't even able to complete a lift. So it's fair, right? That's what's going on here. I really do believe that. When pressed on if she flat out thought it was collusion, the Penn swimmer seemed convinced. I do. I can't say for sure, but I wouldn't be shocked if I found out that was 100% true. Thomas's teammate said in the 100 freestyle race, Henig finished with a time of 49.57 seconds. Thomas touched the wall in 52.84 during a November tri meet with Princeton and Cornell. Thomas swam the freestyle in 49.42. Yeah, so a 3-second difference. That's a big deal, right? A 3-second difference is a huge deal. To me, that sounds like they might have threw it, okay? It sounds like they might have threw it. That's a huge deal, okay? You don't just shave off 3 seconds. People don't think that's a lot, but that actually is a lot. The anonymous Penn swimmer also accuses Thomas of mailing in during the January 8th 200 freestyle race that the transgender swimmer won by 2 seconds. Quote, I was on deck and said to a friend, she's literally not trying. You could just tell. OutKick's source said it was blatantly obvious. I was watching the 200 free and she was literally keeping pace with the other girls. She was number 1 in the country at that point. These are definitely talented swimmers, but they're not the caliber of being at the top in the country or anything like that. Well, that would make sense because when this person was number 1 in the country, they was getting a whole bunch of backlash. Okay, whole bunch of backlash. So at that point, to prove a point and say, oh no, this is fair. Let me throw it a little bit. But again, this person allegedly thinks they're the Jackie Robinson of trans sports. They're the Jackie Robinson. Okay, so again, this person's kind of playing the game here. The Penn female swimmer acknowledged that the team wasn't 100% after traveling to Florida after the holidays for training, but noted that the training shouldn't have made much of a difference in Thomas's performance. Quote, you can tell when someone is dying and they're swimming slow. The swimmer added, you can also tell when someone's not trying, and I could see in the 200 freestyle that Lia was not trying. Thomas, who was already qualified for the women's NCAA championships in the 200 and 500 freestyle, was also accused by those in attendance of coasting and barely trying in the 500 freestyle race that Thomas won by 1 second. OutKick's source with the swim team also noted that the Thomas drama doesn't end there. She says that the Penn, Florida trip traveling party included 2 private security guards, 1 male and 1 female, who were decided as likely being ex-SWAT, and special instructions by the school to avoid wearing Penn gear as to not cause possible confrontation with people who may be following the Thomas story. Since most of their gear has Penn splash around the front, teammates reportedly resorted to covering up logos with tape. The only team member to ignore the school's advisory, Lia Thomas, according to the source. It's crazy. People wearing t-shirts with duct tape on them and had bags duct tape while Lia was wearing gear with big letters, the annoyed teammate told OutKick. Penn's sweet season continues Saturday with a dual meet on the road at Harvard. Okay, so this person apparently doesn't think that the rules apply to them, right? Even though the rules are there because of that person, because of all the notoriety that they have bought to this team, they have to cover up their logos, and this person's just like, nah, I ain't got to do that. I'm special, right? I'm the Jackie Robinson of transports. It's crazy. So, there's parents of youth Penn swimmers who are speaking out about this and that are allegedly fierce about this, as the NCAA has actually changed the policy to support a sport-by-sport approach to transgender participation, okay? Which allows the sport's national governing body to determine its own policy. Now, the NCAA previously required that trans women undergo at least a year of testosterone suppression treatment before competing on a women's team, okay? But the NCAA is saying, hey, you know what? We're tired of taking heat for this. Let's just delegate this to the national governing body for each sport, right? Let them decide what's fair and what's not fair, right? Which, again, is a cop-out. Because the NCAA should just flat out outlaw it and say, no, you can't do this, right? And what they should do is, just so they don't get accused of being bigots, is come up with some type of effort to allow transgender people to compete among themselves, right? Compete among yourself, and y'all can, have your own little competition or whatever, or compete based off your biological sex. It's really that simple. But my point is this. I wish that these people would speak out and put a face and a name out there. Please put a name and a face out there. Like this whole anonymous stuff, I like the fact that they're speaking out, but it would be much more impactful if we can get an interview. We can get somebody to actually step out, right, and just say how you feel, right? Put it on record, put it on camera, okay? So everybody can see it. That, in my opinion, would help us make some progress on this issue. However, until then, I just think that this is something that is just going to continue to be ongoing. And obviously, this person is kind of enjoying it, right? They're enjoying the drama. They're kind of taking it all in, right? And, allegedly throwing competitions in order to try to, deepen the mystery as regards to what is going on here. So let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.